Okay.
I'm going to tell you something about Samuel Kercheval. Him and Jefferson out smoking corn silk. Kercheval told him, Thomas, I don't know about this country. Might want to start again.
He quit.
So I don't have a monitor here, so I really can't see what happens at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do I pop up? When the music starts and Mr. Announcer comes on?
Yeah.
So they see all the little panic things that I do that I'm still in the process of setting up?
Yes. They see you shuffle about uncomfortably. They see you blow the dust off your headphones. They see you put in like 2 cough drops at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I don't do 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know that. I should probably. Now, these shows are archived, right? So I can go back and watch them.
Yes.
So I could like live this show in real time and then go home and, when I say something to Linda like, hey, did you hear when I did this? And I don't watch it. Well, let's get in front of the TV and watch me do it again for 3 straight hours.
Yes, it's archived just like the audio podcast.
Ah, that's right.
And see, this is the thing that gets the NCAA in trouble. Excuse me. When it goes to court here, is there a clock or not? Greg, we talk about the clock all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If he began in 2019, the clock should have run out, whether he's played the 4 years or not. And that's part of the argument because some guys go right through the clock, right? TJ Finley, we've mentioned many times on this show. 7th team coming up this year. He's playing for Incarnate Word. He's played 7 seasons at 7 different schools. Now, why hasn't his clock started? Why doesn't he have the 5-year clock? So if you're Aguilar, I get it.
He just bounced him off the ropes. Somebody save this man. Oh, my Lord. Oh. Very nice, very nice. He hit him with everything he didn't want.
Yeah. 10 seconds remaining.
There'll be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up, and Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable gutsy play call, and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
Things aren't always going to be great. And sometimes, you can work really, really hard and it's still not great. You're still not successful. But, if you continue to do it, one way or another, things are going to be, work out. You're going to be successful. And it may not be in the world's eyes, but, God's made us this way. He's blessed us with so many things. And I think that's one of our attributes that we need to have is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work hard. And if it doesn't work out exactly how we want, just keep plugging away because God's got better plans.
Five, 3, 1.
Rag 57! Rag 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Game night for the Mountaineers, home to Utah tonight at Hope Coliseum. Welcome to the Sportsline. I'm Kyle Wiggs. Greg Hunter is here. We'll talk about this game in depth. Your thoughts, 304 Talk 304. Also, we will hear from WVU women's basketball coach Mark Kellogg. He met the media today. The women are in their bye week. They lost Sunday night at TCU. Don't play again until this weekend when they face Oklahoma State. So we'll get into that. It was a big day at the Olympics for hockey, quarterfinal round day, my favorite event of the Winter Olympics, and 3 of the 4 quarterfinal round games went to overtime. So we had some great finishes and some tremendous play at the end of these games, overtime game winners for the United States, Canada, and Finland. If time permits, we'll talk about that as well. Greg, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing well.
As you said, dramatic day in Italy in hockey. Both Canada and U.S. just barely stave off elimination.
Just barely. We welcome to the program another Greg Carey is probably not at Hope Coliseum quite yet because it's a later start, right? Are you on your way, or you're going to wait a while?
Departing my residence as soon as we get off the air here. I was actually trying to figure out the last time I've come on from my house. It's been a very lengthy time. It's usually either at a high school game or a college game. So it's nice to be in the warm settings here.
We're still over 2 hours away from tip time, which is kind of unusual, but as we all know, television rules the world. So they play when television tells them to play. And tonight, that's 8:30, West Virginia against Utah. All right, Greg, you've done the research on this one. What are your thoughts on how West Virginia and Utah match up?
Yeah, it's obviously a pretty intriguing matchup. A game that on paper West Virginia certainly has to win to kind of keep those NCAA tournament hopes alive and avoid a loss to a team that only enters with 1 Big 12 victory, only has 9 wins overall, and a team that has really struggled for the better part of this season. But it's a Utah team that does pose some matchup problems. They have 2 of the more prolific scorers in the entire Big 12. When you say 2 guys on their team averaging above 17 points per game, which both of them would lead West Virginia in scoring. So certainly there's going to be some matchup problems that those guys pose for you. And one thing I'm interested to see from West Virginia's perspective is how they do on the glass tonight, because that's been an area where Utah's been vulnerable. They're only one of 3 teams in the Big 12 that has a negative rebounding margin for this season. So that's an area where if you're West Virginia, maybe you could exploit some second chance opportunities. And if you're able to hold the Utes to 1 shot, the way you've defended for most of this season, that would obviously bode well for your chances this evening.
Yeah, it is an interesting matchup, Greg, and you just look at it statistically. The Utes can score. As you said, they got 2 really prolific scorers, and you had Dawes in there, who's really been on a hot streak. So they got guys who can score, but they haven't defended very well. So I don't know what that means for West Virginia, which has obviously been really good defensively, especially as of late, but at times, admittedly, will go into some scoring droughts.
Yeah, and it seems like, about every other matchup in league play for West Virginia has been an opponent that maybe, you look at and from a record perspective, you think they're kind of struggling, and they are, but they certainly score more than West Virginia. You kind of think of teams like Kansas State, maybe even Baylor and such. This isn't a team that likes to play in that West Virginia or Cincinnati mold and wants to grind out a game in the 60s. So I'm very interested to see, for West Virginia, you would expect Jasper Floyd to draw one of those 2 assignments. You mentioned the 2 top scorers between Don McHenry and Terrence Brown, both prolific guards for Utah. The Mountaineers feel good about, Floyd's on-ball defense against just about anybody. So you would think that he will be used to try and neutralize one of those 2. And certainly, for West Virginia, you got to stop falling behind. It's been nice to see the resiliency from the team, obviously, and it's been perhaps their top trait. But this is a game, as you mentioned earlier, it's, kind of an awkward later start time. You're not really sure what kind of crowd you'll have, and you've got to, inject some life into this crowd and play from in front against a team that you're expected to beat, and stop, kind of putting yourselves behind the 8 ball and relying on double-digit deficits in the second half to come back.
Yeah, you mentioned Jasper Floyd defensively, and we had Bill Riley, the play-by-play voice for Utah, on last night. He described these guards as being very different in terms of offense. Terrence Brown's a guy who takes it to the basket, a slasher. He gets to the foul line a ton. McHenry's the shooter with 63 three-pointers, 40% from three on the year. So you'd think that Jasper would be, with his on-ball defense, try to keep Brown in front of him, right? He'd be the guy that he would be defending.
I would think so, and it's been Ross Hodges discussed it at length numerous times this year, but it really has been one of the top traits of this West Virginia team, the ability to keep opponents from living at the free throw line, and as you mentioned, that's an area where Terrence Brown excels. So if you're hoping to prevent him from anywhere close to double-digit free throw attempts, Jasper Floyd probably gives you the best opportunity to do that. He would probably, make it like the toughest it could be really on Brown in terms of just challenging shots and kind of staying on his hip throughout the evening. But, this is not a team that just relies on one or two guys. Greg, you mentioned Keanu Dawes earlier, and he's another guy averaging nearly 13 points a game. And because of his size at 6'9", his ability to play above the rim, he's very efficient. He's shooting above 56% from the field. So that's a guy that I would look for probably Brennan Lorient to perhaps show the assignment on, at least to start the game. And from a size and athleticism standpoint, that could also be a very intriguing matchup.
How important is Honor Huff? I mean, I guess it goes without saying he's always key for West Virginia, but like all shooters, he's had hot and cold moments. Does he have to have a hot one tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more consistency, man. The last two of these last three games where he's really been prolific for long stretches in the Cincinnati win as well as UCF. He struggled mightily in the first half of those games, and then credit to him, he was able to stick with it. And he's, seems to be one of those guys that as soon as he sees a shot or two from the perimeter go down, his eyes light up, and West Virginia makes a conscious effort to get him the ball, and he obviously has the green light and the freedom to take just about any shot that's within reach. But would be nice, certainly from the Mountaineers' perspective, to not only see a better team start, but try to get him involved early. You don't want to go into halftime and think that you need one of those stretches where Huff has to make 3 or 4 threes in a 4-minute span, or maybe run off 15 points in a short period of time to kind of will you back into the game. Would be nice to see them get him involved a little bit early, and in the case of Honor Huff, when he has the opportunities, he's got to knock those shots down.
Mm-hmm. Seems like teams in this league, you think they're down and out and they're just about ready to cash it in for the year. And Utah would be a candidate for that, just 1-11. They haven't won on the road. They haven't won a conference game in a month. But lo and behold, they should have won that game this weekend at Cincinnati. Had Cincinnati down by 5, I believe, with under 2 minutes to go. So, again, there's so much talent in this league, and it's so spread out. There's never a game that you can say is a gimme.
No, there is. And really, you look through the results, and obviously – it's a results-based business, wins and losses, but this isn't a team that has been blown out a bunch. You flip a few plays. They had an opportunity to win at Kansas State earlier this year. They played BYU in competitive fashion, and a lot of their losses have been in that 8 to 12 to 15-point range. So they certainly had the ability to hang in games. And as you mentioned, this is a team that if you jump on them early, you kind of wonder. This has been a long road trip for them that began with a Sunday afternoon game at Cincinnati, so they've been away from home for the better part of the last 5 days. And, if you can get them down by a pretty significant amount at some point in the first half or early into the second half, what kind of resiliency, what kind of fight is left in Utah? It's a team that, as we know, has no chance in terms of an at-large bid for a postseason berth. So, there could be some wandering minds, and a team that certainly doesn't want to go winless on the road, but if you're able to kind of create that doubt in their minds, there might not be a ton of fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Former Mountaineer James Okonkwo returns to the Coliseum. He's been gone a while, so I don't know what how many of the WVU students even remember him. He's been gone 3 years, but
the students have probably forgotten about him.
Yeah, I do wonder what kind of reception he gets. He was always very good to the media, so no complaints, but it is always interesting when a former player comes back.
It is, and he's kind of been like the West Virginia program for the last few years. He's just bounced around, and it's just been a lot of change. Obviously, he had a stint at North Carolina and Akron before his current one at Utah. But as we remember, he's a very athletic player. He has the ability to not only block but alter a lot of shots around the rim. He's springy guy, long, and brings a lot of length to the back line of their defense. And he's gotten a lot of playing time recently. He's not necessarily a ton of an offensive threat, but as we noted earlier, with a team that has, 3 guys averaging in double figures, they may not ask for a lot from him offensively. So certainly from a stature standpoint, he's going to be giving up some weight to, Harlan Obioha in there, but he's a guy that, because of his length and athleticism and just his ability to get off the floor, he can certainly disrupt and bother a lot of shots, and he can also be an instrumental part of what Utah is trying to do on the glass.
Well, Greg, we appreciate your time. We'll allow you to get in your vehicle and head towards Hope Coliseum, and we look forward to your work a little bit later on tonight.
Anytime, guys. Have a good night.
Greg Carey there with a preview of West Virginia, Utah. Not at the Coliseum yet because the game's still over 2 hours away from its tip time.
8:30 tip. Like you said, TV dictates a lot of things, so feels like it's been a long time since West Virginia had a traditional 7 o'clock home tip, and they're not going to have another one the rest of the year. So that's the way of the world in TV, and you adjust to it and move on.
Greg pointed out, and of course, our guest last night, Bill Riley, pointed out the deficiencies in this Utah team. The reason they're not winning is they're giving up 80 points per game. And as Greg said, their opponents, they're getting out-rebounded by 2 or 3 or 4 rebounds per game. They're averaging about 34, and opponents are averaging about 36 rebounds per game. So therein lies the issue with Utah in terms of defense and rebounding.
Yeah, and we'll see what West Virginia takes advantage in those areas. We know West Virginia is strong defensively, so can they slow down the offense of Utah a little bit? And then on the other side of things, can they take advantage of those deficiencies of the Utes? And those have been areas that, at times West Virginia has had struggles with its own offense, but they've usually found a way. They've relied on defense, and if they slow down Utah, you'd like to think the rest of it goes to the Mountaineers' advantage.
Utah 9-16 on the year, 1-11 in the Big 12 against 7 consecutive losses, 0-8 in true road games this year. Again, with those 2 great scores, Terrence Brown at 20.4 points per game. He's 4th in the conference in scoring, and McHenry, a top 5 3-point shooter in the league in both number of makes and percentage. He's right around 40%. And it's Dawes, a guy he's been the double-double guy the last, since about February 1st.
Mm-hmm. No, you're exactly right. I was really impressed with him watching the Cincinnati game. I thought he was really good. But, this league is so weird. They had Kansas on the ropes at Kansas just a couple of weeks ago. As you said, probably should have, not maybe even probably, should have just outright beat Cincinnati at Cincinnati this past weekend. And then you just look around. Who would have thought that Arizona State would beat Texas Tech yesterday? Kansas State, all they did is fire their coach, and they go out and get a win over Baylor.
Yeah.
So, you just never know from day to day and game to game.
By the way, Toppin torn ACL out for the year.
Ugh.
What a obviously, and again, this league, it's so good, and there's so many good players, and it's been top heavy all year. But all of a sudden, you got 2 first-team all-conference guys go down in a matter of days. Saunders with BYU, and now JT Toppin, a torn ACL. Both of those guys out for the rest of the year.
And, again, unfortunate for each, but you got to think that impacts their postseason. I mean, both will still get into the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying that, but those were teams that had abilities to make deep runs, even though BYU's had a little bit of a slump as of late, even before Saunders got hurt. But with those 2 guys out for each of those clubs, boy, that makes their any kind of run, deep run, really, really difficult.
Toppin, 21.8 points per game, leads the team in rebounding, 10.8, leads the team in block shots, nearly 2 block shots per game. And only once before had a Big 12 player finished the season averaging more than 20 points and 10 rebounds per game. And that takes you back to Blake Griffin nearly 20 years ago, who was the first pick in the NBA draft. So that tells you the impactful season, the dominant season that JT Toppin was having.
We saw him in here just a couple of weeks ago at the Coliseum, and he was awfully good. He hit a couple threes, did everything, inside, outside. He's awfully good. And again, way ahead of everything. But, he's got a year eligibility left. And with the NIL money that he's getting, a lot of people wondered what his future would be if he'd stay in college. Well, you really wonder that now with the injury, what that's going to be for him. May see JT Toppin's
how long
Tech uniform.
I know the recovery time has been reduced significantly because of sports medicine, but how long does it take to recover from this?
Yeah, good question. We'd have to call Chad Lavin, former Mountaineers long snapper, currently a doctor who specializes in knee injuries. We'll have to give him a call. I won't pretend. I think they're all different. But you're right. Is that impact his draft status? Is college better option for him?
Or, being able to play at all next year? Or is it worth coming back in January if that's the case, if it takes 11 months, 10 or 11 months?
Well, if you can cash those NIL checks
that's true.
that Tech's giving you, and they're not small by any stretch. So
304 Talk 304, what do you expect to happen tonight? What are the keys in tonight's matchup, West Virginia against Utah? 304 Talk 304. We'll hear what a couple of things that Honor Huff had to say about this matchup and about his team earlier in the week. It is unbelievable to think that if West Virginia wins this game tonight, that gives them 8 conference wins, and they would be right behind it. And again, the league's top-heavy with, you expect Final Four contenders, Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, maybe Kansas, Texas Tech, certainly before the injury to JT Toppin, all of those teams candidates to make long and deep NCAA tournament runs. But if West Virginia wins tonight, that'll be 8 conference win. That's 1 less than Kansas and Texas Tech, who are currently tied for 4th in the league.
Yeah, so just keep stacking them up. See what happens. We keep talking about the bubble. Well, you can get to the right side of the bubble, but you got to win.
304 Talk 304. We'll check the text line. We'll also hear from Honor Huff when we return on the CityNet statewide sports line. Since 1979, the health plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses, proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years. The health plan.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
At the Health Plan, we are here for you, and we have been one of the most trusted carriers for over 40 years. Headquartered right here in West Virginia, providing exceptional health coverage and local customer service.
The Health Plan, we are here for you.
An irregular heartbeat can be serious. At WVU Medicine, our electrophysiology team offers world-class care, close to home and always within reach, to diagnose and treat heart rhythm disorders with advanced technology and devices. Call 877-WVU, the number 4 HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps, and never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
The Mountain State Assessment of Trends in Community Health, or MATCH, is a survey sent to 88,000 West Virginian home addresses where the information you provide can support policymakers to direct resources to help your community. If selected, you will receive the survey information and invitation in the mail. You can complete the survey online, by mail, or by phone, and you will be compensated for your time. Visit wvmatchsurvey.org for more information. Helping your community is a touchdown for West Virginia.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
New year, new trucks. Start your year off with a new truck from Dan Calva Toyota World. Now lease a 2025 Tacoma for as low as $299 a month. Save over $7,500 off on select Tundras or get 2.99% for 72 months. It's your last chance to get a gas model 2025 RAV4. Don't miss out. Come experience cars you can count on year after year. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kirchhoff. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talkline on Metro News Television.
CityNet Statewide Sportsline, welcome back inside the Health Plan Studios. Mountaineers against Utah. Tonight it is an 8:30 tip. What did Honor Huff have to say about his team and the matchup tonight? Of course, West Virginia, they're coming off that come-from-behind win at UCF on Saturday night. Can't get too high, can't get too low, right? To use that old cliche, you just have to move on, and that's the mindset of the players, not looking ahead, not talking about the NCAA tournament bubble, just getting set for the next matchup, and that's tonight for Honor Huff and the Mountaineers.
I'm going to be real honest. We try to focus on the next game. The next game is the biggest game of the season. Besides Kansas City, besides UCF on senior night, like Utah, like that's kind of where our mind is on and where we need to be focused on. But obviously we're not naive to the fact that, these games are important. And obviously we want to make a good push to cement our name to be able to get called to play in the tournament. So we understand that. But we also want to take it one game at a time. And until we get to Kansas City, we want to focus on who we have to take care of, and that's Utah tomorrow night.
Well, good answer there.
Yeah, right answer. And as we said, I mean, we all know what's, the ring that's out there for West Virginia. But, I mean, we as fans or radio people, we can look to the far bubble, but players, none of it matters if you don't take care of business in the here and now. And that starts with Utah. I mean, it's, again, people are going to look to other games and say more important, but if you don't win this game tonight, all of a sudden your opportunities really get diminished. So you got to find a way. And Utah is good enough to beat West Virginia. It's not saying the Mountaineers are a 10-point favorite, 10 plus, but the Utes are not outside the opportunity to get a win. They're good enough to do that. This isn't, Mount St. Mary's. No offense against those Mountaineers, but this is a Big 12 team that's had some struggles, but they can score.
And again, Honor Huff, still West Virginia's leading scorer, and with his 3-point shots, there was a time this year he was leading the nation or was in the top 5 most of the year in 3-point shots, and with 84, he's still among the nation's leaders. He's in there. He's still in about the top 20 in the country, but again, teams have figured out a way to limit some of his opportunities.
Yeah, and it's become more difficult. You knew when you got into the Big 12, all of a sudden you got longer, more athletic guards who can defend him. But, I do think in recent times, while his outside shooting has maybe struggled, he found, especially in the second half against UCF, some ability to get to the rim and drive the lane, which we hadn't really seen out of him. And all of a sudden, he's finding other ways to score besides just a three-pointer.
Mm-hmm. One more from Honor Huff, and again, he talked about focus on the Utah game, and obviously a lot of work to be done for this Mountaineer team tonight and for the rest of the regular season before the Mountaineers get to the Big 12 Conference postseason tournament.
It doesn't put a pressure, I would say, but it definitely adds value to each game that we play in this regular season because, like you said, we want to be able to cement our names before the conference tournament so we don't have to rely on winning in the conference tournament to go to the tournament. So I think that's the kind of difference because, even last year in the SoCon, you have to win the tournament to go. So it's definitely a different mindset for sure.
I'd ask you what the number is, but after last year, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the truth? You got burned last year so badly, you don't want to think about it. But, with 7 conference wins, and I don't think there's any set number that we've found that ultimately works. But I've really thought in a league like the Big 12, if you are over 500 in conference play, which means 3 more wins, if you can get there, boy, it's really hard to leave you out. Now, we saw last year that there is no definitive, but I think if West Virginia can get to 10 and be at least 10-8 in this league, boy, you got a real argument at that point.
There would you would think there would be opportunity, no doubt. One other story that surfaced today, kind of away from the collegiate aspect, and by the way, high school sports line's coming up 7:06 until 9 o'clock following the sports line, but the West Virginia SSAC Board of Directors today voted, actually it was last night, but it was announced today. The vote came Tuesday night. The approval of girls wrestling as a preliminary sanctioned sport beginning next year, the 2026-2027 school year. So this decision establishes an official WVSSAC Girls Wrestling State Championship, which will include the regional qualifying format like every other sanctioned sport. And the girls-only championship will be conducted separately from the boys' state wrestling tournament. And this is a sport that's growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, the number of student athletes participating has doubled in just the last couple of years. There are over 300 girls wrestlers participating this year compared to 142 in 2023. And there are, again, over 300 competitors representing 86 schools this year and 27 full teams. So this formalizes a championship structure for girls wrestling. I guess the fastest growing sport, at least in the last couple of years, in West Virginia.
Yeah, a quick internet search shows that 45 states currently sponsor girls wrestling. So, as you said, West Virginia's had some girls teams, but now adds a championship and a little more structure to it. So, more opportunities for, females, males, whomever to participate in athletics. I think that's well and good for me.
Yeah, and a standalone event from the boys tournament or the current wrestling state championships, which is a huge event in Huntington, and that comes up the first weekend in March this year. So you've got the state swim championships starting at Milan Park in Morgantown tomorrow. That event will be Thursday and Friday of this week, and then no championship events next week, but wrestling, girls, and boys basketball follow in consecutive weeks after that. So girls wrestling championships coming to the state of West Virginia. By the way, coming up on High School Sports Line, 7:06 until 9. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. We'll be joined by Parkersburg South boys basketball coach Mike Fallon. Parkersburg South in the MSAC championship game coming up this weekend against George Washington. Also, Chapmanville's Brad Napper will join us. Tug Valley's girls basketball coach Seth Uten, Martinsburg girls basketball coach Ronnie Fitzpatrick, and we'll talk a little bit about the state swimming championships, which, again, begin tomorrow in Morgantown. Elkins has won back-to-back girls state championships in swim, and they shared one with Bridgeport on the boys' side. So a member of the Elkins coaching staff, Seth Blake, will join us to kind of preview the state swimming championships Thursday and Friday in Morgantown. That's all coming up on High School Sportsline tonight, 7:06 until 9 o'clock following our show. When we return, we'll get some thoughts from Mountaineer women's coach Mark Kellogg. They're in the midst of their bye week, and coming up, they will be up against the highest scoring team in the Big 12 Conference this weekend as they take on Oklahoma State. So we'll hear from Coach Mark Kellogg coming up in just a couple of moments. Running a small business is hard enough. Dealing with tech problems shouldn't be part of the job. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, whether you need full tech support or just extra help for a small IT team. From security and backups to day-to-day support, CityNet's local experts have you covered. Call today 1-844-CityNet.
Running a small business means wearing a lot of hats, and dealing with tech problems shouldn't be one of them. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, from networks and computers to backup, security, and day-to-day support. Whether you don't have IT staff or you have a small team that could use extra help, CityNet can take care of the technology or work alongside your team to fill in the gaps. With proactive monitoring, fast local support, and solutions built on CityNet's fiber network, your business stays productive instead of reactive. Call us at 1-844-CityNet to get started.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
The Mountain State Assessment of Trends in Community Health, or MATCH, is a survey sent to 88,000 West Virginian home addresses where the information you provide can support policymakers to direct resources to help your community. If selected, you will receive the survey information and invitation in the mail. You can complete the survey online, by mail, or by phone, and you will be compensated for your time. Visit wvmatchsurvey.org for more information. Helping your community is a touchdown for West Virginia.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to wvmetronews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to wvmetronews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I have had a complicated relationship with food. My job was to talk to heart failure patients about diet and exercise. I felt like, why would you listen to me? Because I was not following a diet that was healthy for me. I needed help. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 175 pounds. I feel like I'm free. They hold the skill, they hold the tools, and they're waiting for you to come say that you need the help.
New year, new trucks. Save over $7,500 off on select Tundras or get 2.99% for 72 months. Come experience cars you can count on year after year. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is now Wealth Enhancement. We believe retirement starts with a plan. Saving for college starts with a plan. Your legacy starts with a plan. Do you have the right plan? Call our team at 304-443-4240 or email stike-info@wealthenhancement.com.
Sitting at Statewide Sportsline, welcome back to the Health Plan Studios, 304 Talk 304. That is the text line. WVU women, in the midst of their bye week, lost that tough one at TCU back on Sunday night, had the lead at halftime, and TCU outplayed them a bit in the second half and ended up winning that contest by a final of 59-50. Mountaineer women's coach Mark Kellogg, despite the fact that his team had its 4-game winning streak snapped, the Mountaineers 21-6 overall, 11-4 in conference play. And Mark Kellogg meeting the media today, still liking the position the Mountaineer women's basketball team is in.
At this point for us, it's put all of our attention to Oklahoma State and then the remaining games that follow that one. Still in a decent spot, I guess, but we don't control it, and that's the disappointing part, is you always want to control it if you can. So unfortunately, we don't do that at this point. We're going to need a little help for a Big 12 title, but there's still plenty on the line, from seedings to double buys to NCAA tournaments implications. So anyway, yeah, like I said, we'll keep moving forward. We're still in a good place. We've worked really hard to put ourselves in this position. Have a really good Oklahoma State team coming up, so we got to put a lot of focus on that one. But other than that, yeah, feel okay, and we'll get back after it.
So the Mountaineers briefly there in first place in the conference prior to the loss at TCU. So they got swept in the regular season by TCU. Obviously don't have the tiebreaker there. They do have the victory over Baylor. TCU and Baylor 11-3 in conference play, with the Mountaineers at 11-4. Texas Tech at 10-4, and Oklahoma State right there as well, 10-5, the next opponent for West Virginia.
Yeah, so I mean that's what makes Saturday's game with the Cowgirls so important for West Virginia, because again, remember, top 4 in the Big 12 get a double bye in the conference tournament. So important to, if you want to advance to the deep into that one, to get that double bye automatically puts you in the quarterfinals. So that's what West Virginia is probably realistically shooting for right now. Catching TCU, I mean, you're only a game behind them in the mathematical standings, but as you said, the Horned Frogs had the tiebreaker too. So with West Virginia with just 3 games left, basically are 2 games behind. Now TCU has a couple of tough games. They have Texas Tech and Baylor still to go, as well as Houston and Cincinnati. Not that those 2 will be difficult, but still, catching TCU is going to be difficult. But for West Virginia, that double bye in the conference tournament, and then again, you probably don't have a realistic chance of getting the regional hosting opportunity, the NCAA tournament, but you could put yourself in a 5 seed, so right outside that better seed you can get, all the good.
The opponent Saturday, Oklahoma State, they come in leading the Big 12 in offense, 83.4 points per game, and they've scored in the mid-70s in about half of their 15 conference games. So West Virginia very good defensively. Oklahoma State very good offensively. Head coach Mark Kellogg.
I think the best offensive group from an efficiency standpoint, it looks like, that's in our league. They're phenomenal in transition. They can space you. They'll play small too at times and almost play 5 guards and, make you defend all over the perimeter. And they do shoot the 3, and they can make quite a few of them, but they can get to the rim and, score different ways. But they're elite in transition. They're elite in their shot making. This is a really, really good offensive team. Maybe Villanova-ish, honestly. Probably it would maybe be a comparable at this point, and there's probably a few more in our league too, but that's the one that comes to mind just because of the versatility of, lots of different ball handlers and different people bring it up, and they're in different spots in transition. So, yeah, they'll put some pressure on our defense for sure.
A high-scoring team with and balanced team. 6 players in double figures.
Wow.
Micah Gray leads the way in scoring at 15 points per game. She's also the top 3-point shooter, 81 threes on the year. And then they've got 3 players that have 47 or more three-pointers, and they've hit 267 threes on the year. By comparison, West Virginia is at 171, and the Mountaineers shoot a lot. Oklahoma State shoots a ton.
Boy, yeah, that impressive number. So you know what certainly is key, and obviously for West Virginia, as always, can they force turnovers? Only forced 10 against TCU, which is by far the season low that West Virginia has forced this year. So with all those guards, I mean, your first reaction is, okay, they probably had some ball handlers, maybe not as many turnover opportunities for the Mountaineers, but that's still going to be a major factor.
Yeah, Jaden Wooten's the point guard, and she's excellent. 144 assists to just 57 turnovers, so darn near, 3-to-1 there, assist to turnover ratio. And Oklahoma State as a team, they turn it over an average of 14 times per game. But, again, getting out on those three-point shooters, turning Oklahoma State over the keys for West Virginia in this one. What about the bye week? WVU women's coach Mark Kellogg on his team having the balance of this week off.
With this league, you just, you do it quite often, I guess, is you just don't have a lot of time. We actually do have more time. This is technically, I guess, our bye week, I guess, or we don't have a midweek game, so we have a little bit more time. Got to take a couple days off, had some crazy travel getting home the other night, so that was maybe a good time. Thankfully, we don't play today. If we did play today, maybe I might be a little more worried, but we have plenty of time to kind of get over that one and make sure we get ready for the next.
All right, so not the extra day. Yeah, I know what you're going to bring up, the travel. Not the extra day off because they played Sunday instead of Saturday. And then it took them, about 4 days to get home?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to play that cut, but if you're not, I can go into it a little bit. So they're flying home from Fort Worth after the game on Sunday. If people were out and about late Sunday night, early Monday morning, incredible fog really all over north central West Virginia. So they wanted to fly into Morgantown, couldn't do that. There was fog. Wanted to fly in there from Clarksburg, couldn't do that. Too much fog. Ended up flying into Charleston because that was the closest airport without fog. The next morning, they're going to get up and flight's going to come in. Still too much fog, and now the pilots have timed out, so they can't do that. So they finally book a bus after a few hours sleep in a local hotel in Charleston that they found, and drove back from Charleston to Morgantown. So
that's brutal. You think you're going to get home and land in Morgantown and be in your beds within a half an hour of touching down, and you end up the next day having to make a 150-mile bus trip on top of everything.
And Mark said, after a win that happens, you just sort of smile and move on, but just more grief when it comes with a loss.
Bracketology. Coaches don't want to talk about it or think about it, but there's a member of the Kellogg household that's all over it, right?
Yep. Has been for a while, and talking to Mark as well. Talked to him. He said in recent years, not just this year, but in recent years, his son Cam has been big on this.
All right, so Cam Kellogg, he's the bracketologist for the Kellogg family and the WVU women's basketball team.
It's the timeliness of the report that's pretty good. It's I think he knows exactly to the minute. He does the same thing with the AP poll. If it's probably 12 o'clock in 1 second, and he's probably clicking it to kind of see where we're at, and bracketologies, and we got the availability reports now, so he's pretty quick on. He's figured out how to get that one. It may not even be our game. He's just like to let us know. So he's all in. He wants to be a coach. He loves it. He's invested in it. So we'll let him keep rolling with it. I've had to kind of tame him down on some of his yelling at the officials a little bit because he gets going there too. But he's just he's so invested, and that's what you love about him is his passion. So we'll let him keep rolling. So.
Yeah, member of the Morgantown High boys basketball team as well.
Yeah, I think he's got a family of passionate people because watching his wife and his daughter and his son in the stands at Mountaineer games when they're all there, they're all pretty vociferous. So, but they're passionate about what they get into. But yeah, Cam's a nice player, senior at Morgantown High, right? We know the daughter is really, really good, but unfortunately hasn't been able to play this season because of a knee injury. So basketball very much in the family blood.
304 Talk 304, that's the text line. Texter says, I'm trying to remember if there's been any 3-second violations called this year. Is officiating lenient in this area? Well, yeah, the answer is yes, but a couple things there. Pace of play, that's one thing. Try to avoid whistles, and the fact that the game has become a little bit more perimeter oriented. I mean, those are two things. I think the 3-second, the way my recollection of it is, the 3-second call almost completely went away in college basketball until Zach Edey, who would spend 20 seconds in the lane, and there was some pushback and blowback on that. And it kind of crept back a little bit, and now it's disappearing again, I think.
Yeah, I remember a couple this year. There's no area statistically you can go and look that up because I just tried to do that. So I can't find anything. But I do remember a couple this year, but there haven't been a whole lot. A couple against West Virginia, a couple for them. So, but you can count the total on one hand probably. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is not nearly as often called as sort of remember in the past. But as you said, some of the guys took it to an extreme with Zach Edey. And if they weren't going to call it, and you're 12 feet tall, just go camp in there.
304 Talk 304. We'll check the text lines, wrap up this show after this. It is the CityNet statewide sports line. Back to the Health Plan Studios after this.
Hi, I'm Chris Lawrence. Make plans to join me at the Mountain States premier fishing, hunting, and outdoor sports show presented by Can-Am, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. Over 200 vendor booths and 100,000 square feet of everything outdoors, all under one roof. Great prizes, seminars, and kids fish for free in the Academy Sports Trout Pond. It's the 24th annual West Virginia Fishing, Hunting, and Outdoor Sports Show, March 7th and 8th at Milan Park in Morgantown. A WVRC media event.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps, and never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan. We are here for you.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
On the next State of Minds.
My dad always said, don't let any one individual control your destiny, what you do, what your value is. And I wasn't about to let Paterno do that to me. I mean, it was just a phenomenal time, my first game, and to be accepted as a Mountaineer.
conversation starts long before the game. 3 guys before the game. Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for 3 Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
Final few minutes on the CityNet statewide sports line. Thanks for joining us tonight. Again, stay tuned for the high school sports line coming up right here on the Metro News Radio Network. And we remind you that Tudor's Biscuit World sponsors the Metro News High School Basketball Power Rankings, and they will be updated on Friday. So check out the Tudor's Biscuit World High School Hoops Power Rankings for boys basketball, the top 10 in all 4 classes. You can find it at WVMetroNews.com. You can find the current poll now. We'll update it coming up on Friday. Again, wanted to get in this a little bit more, but we're out of time here. But what a day for Olympic hockey, which is my favorite sport in the Olympics. And it's best on best. A lot of NHL players and great games today. The United States, Sweden scored with about 90 seconds left in regulation and forced overtime. And the U.S. got a Quinn Hughes goal in overtime. Quinn Hughes of the Minnesota Wild. So the U.S. beat Sweden 2-1. U.S. had the toughest quarterfinal round draw. Canada, though, got taken to overtime by Czechia. And it was Mitch Marner of the Vegas Golden Knights who scored the overtime game winner. And Finland and Switzerland went to overtime. Arturi Lehkonen of Colorado scored for Finland, and Slovakia won big 6-2. So there's your Final
semis.
Four. Here's
Yeah.
semis in hockey, which are Friday.
Yeah, should be. It's been a great tournament, and hopefully it finishes that way. Good Olympics. I've enjoyed watching it.
Greg, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk in depth about West Virginia's game against Utah tonight. Again, stay tuned. High School Sports Line coming up next.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line is an exclusive production of the Metro News Radio Network. All rights reserved.